Rev up your engines! Okay, Toyota Venza. They made them. They stopped making them. They're making them again. What's up with them? Well, you're going to find out by me analyzing this 2009 Venza that's got 278,626 miles on it, and it still runs like a clock. So why did they stop making them and then start making them again? Well, basically it was a marketing mistake as far as I'm concerned on Toyota. They had a price point in between stuff where they weren't selling enough of them because some people thought, well, this is a little bit too expensive, or I want something smaller, or I want something bigger. So they stopped making them. This one was made in Kentucky. The ones here were made in Kentucky for the U.S. market. Now, the new ones are made either in Japan or in China, and they only come 4-cylinder hybrid. That's all they offer in the new ones. So they're quite a bit different beast than this older one is. So let's get to analyzing this older one and see how it could go this many miles and still run pretty good. Take off the stupid beauty cover, throw it in the grass. It's a V6 engine. They go and go. This one still runs pretty much the way it did when it was new. Still gets the same gas mileage. This particular one gets about 28 miles a gallon still on the highway. I've seen people get as high as 38 miles a gallon. But realize one thing. If you're going to buy one of these used, decide what you want. It's a relatively heavy vehicle. Even though it's based on the Camry chassis, it's a relatively heavy vehicle. So you're really better off if you like performance and overall riding, if you're going to tow anything, to get the V6 engine. Mind you, the 4 cylinders will get you where you're going, but they just have enough oomph. And if you're going to tow something, forget the 4. You only want to get a 6. And like I said, the modern ones that are made in Japan and China are all 4-cylinder hybrids. So they got the hybrid to get more horsepower for taking off, right? This isn't. This is just a traditional V6 engine with coil-on plug ignition, as you can see, regular fuel injectors, port fuel injectors, 1 injector for each cylinder. It doesn't have the complexity of Toyota's modern dynamic force engine, less things to go wrong. Not quite as good gas mileage, but less things to go wrong. This baby has a very dependable 6-speed automatic transmission, and if you want, you can shift it manually. You can put it here, so you can go up and down. You can see 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can shift it yourself if you want. Most people just put it in drive and leave it that way. Now, generally, these transmissions still shift quite well, even with this kind of mileage, 278,000. We'll see when we road test it. But I can tell already, when I put it in drive, it's still idles smooth as silk. It's not shaking or anything. Now, being what they call a crossover SUV, whatever the heck that means, it's front-wheel drive. This isn't all-wheel drive. The new ones are all-wheel drive. But this is front-wheel drive, which is plenty enough for most people. You'll get better gas mileage. There's less complexity. When you get a bad tire, since it's not all-wheel drive, you don't have to buy all 4 tires. Save a lot of expense. If you don't need all-wheel drive, my advice, don't get it. The reason people like them is because these things are comfy. You can see it's quite stylish. There's a lot of room in them. See, they got a lot of stuff here. Check in the back. You can see, that's a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of junk in here. Of course, it's hidden under here. You can put the seats back. You can hold a lot. Basically, comes down to it, this thing is just a giant version of my Matrix. It's just bigger. Now, with almost 300,000 miles, they want to see what shape it's in, so I'm getting my fancy scan tool out. And here we go. We do diagnostics. It's beeping, so it knows it's doing its thing. Standalone diagnosis. It's already read the VIN. That was fast. Knows it's the Venza, North America, 2009. 2GRFE 6-cylinder engine with a smart gate. Topology scan, all the CAN systems, so here we go. And while it's doing it, we'll look inside. Dash is still in excellent shape. Got the factory radio and everything. Nice big armrest. Seats are in excellent shape. Did a scan, 300,000 miles. It's only got 4 codes, and they're all the tire pressure monitoring system, which you will often expect. Each tire has a sensor built into the valve stem. The batteries go bad over a period of time. Most people aren't going to spend the money replacing them all, taking the tires apart. So, for many of them, because the batteries are probably dead, or they might even have different tires. They bought this thing used, so who really cares? We'll erase it, but I'm sure it'll come back because it knows the sensors aren't sending any information. So let's start it up, look at the data. We can see the MAF sensor's doing fine. Black like like it's supposed to be. In closed loop like it's supposed to be. Okay, the air-fuel ratio sensor's not bad. 1.00 was perfect. It was 1 for a second, then 995, 998. So it's only a few thousandths off. So considering this thing has all this mileage on it, it's doing pretty good. Sensor 1 and sensor 2, 0 is perfect. It's minus 0.0403, minus 0.02, minus 0.0. That's almost perfect for a car this old. It's exactly the same on each, front and back. That's normal. Like I tell people, catalytic converters theoretically will last forever because they don't burn out themselves. They're a catalyst to burn on-burn hydrocarbons. If you got a car that runs really good, doesn't burn oil, doesn't have problems, the cats can last forever. And these are still working perfectly, even though they have almost 300,000 miles on. You'd never see that in a Nissan or a Chrysler. They just don't last as long because the engine systems wear out. Then they destroy the cats. These engines don't wear out, hence the cats don't wear out either. The transmission data here, it's all normal. 6-cylinder Toyota, 0 misfires across the board, no misfires. Sometimes they feel a little weird shift between gears, so let's look at the transmission data, the whole setup. Live data, we know it doesn't have any trouble codes, and we'll go through these. Oil temperature is normal, and as I said, these electronically controlled 6-speed transmissions are pretty reliable. But as with everything else, realize as they age, sometimes you get a little slippage. I used to get in our old Cressida, and they said sometimes it might have a little jiggle in between gears. Well, that's pretty normal when you got this kind of mileage. Does it a little with this kind of mileage. So we're going to road test it and see. Now, it's an older car, so there's no backup camera. You got to look back. Alrighty, 300,000 miles practically, still smooth as silk. We'll see how this tranny shifts. I didn't even feel it shift into second gear or third gears. That thing so far, okay, I felt a little there. There's a little rumble, and you'll often get that with this kind of mileage. Hey, that's a lot of mileage. Things are going to be worn inside, so that particular shift, it's a little bit worn. I felt a little vibration. The main problem with these cars as they age is you're so used to perfection. When you get a little squibble like that, you think, oh my God, it's not perfect anymore. Hey, I'm not perfect anymore, and I got more than 300,000 miles on me. Here we got our little drag strip here. Down on Tobacco Road, I feel like I'm in an old rock and roll song. There, you felt it. You felt that jiggle. That's just plain wear from old age. Up the hill, it's got no problems going uphill. And we'll see what it does on the little drag strip. Nobody behind us to rear end us, so here we go. Hey, it burnt a little rubber. Interestingly enough, when we gave it full bore, the transmission didn't do that jiggle hesitation. It's got more pressure on it, so that just shows you when you're driving slow, it's got to be absolutely perfect so that it jiggles. But when you give it all kinds of power, it just goes right through that gears without the shuddering. So that shows you it's not a serious problem. It's just wear from old age, and it didn't do it when we took off as fast as it could. Let's see if it does it when we go into passing mode. No, it didn't do it then either, so I gotta say, it's nothing to really worry about. I roll the windows down to get a little air, and hey, it's still a great vehicle for cruising out in the countryside. See what it does, this little 20-mile-an-hour squiggle. We'll speed up here. We're supposed to slow down, we'll speed up. We'll see what it does. And what does it do? It works perfectly fine. No squealing tires, no problem whatsoever. Nice and smooth. See right there, I felt the jiggle. Okay, and it doesn't when I accelerate slow, but when I accelerate fast, it doesn't. Yes, it's slightly worn, but there's really nothing to be done about it. You're not going to rebuild a transmission. It still works as good as it does, and it only does it in that one gear. Still in excellent shape with almost 300,000 miles. Yes, it has a jiggle going from second to third gear. It's not perfect anymore, right? Now, it only does it when you're going slow. When you're going fast, it doesn't. When it downshifts, it doesn't. It's just starting to wear out between second and third gear. And they'll often do that to some extent. How often do you do that? Once you shift it through, you're generally not driving either second or third gear for that long, so you're not going to spend a fortune rebuilding the transmission with this kind of mileage on it. So really, it was an excellent made vehicle in its day. It's still performing good with almost 300,000 miles. Now, if anybody has a 2024 Venza, the new hybrid-only version with a 4-cylinder engine, please bring it to me when I'm either in Tennessee or Rhode Island, because I love to make a comparison to show people, here's what they used to be, this one, and here's what they are today. So if somebody's got a new one, please bring it to me. I'll take you out to lunch, whatever. I'd like to do a nice comparison. It'll certainly get better gas mileage than this one. A lot more complexity, the Toyota dynamic force engine system that's very complex, where this is a pretty simple system. As you can see, it's been pretty trouble-free. Original engine, original transmission, doesn't burn oil. Other than having that second to third wobble shift at low speeds, it's in excellent shape. And they bought it used at 220,000 or something miles on it. They didn't buy it new. They just tend to hold up with the simpler technology in these older ones. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.